I'm gonna tell you why the iPhone 8 is a better option than the iPhone 10 in 2020. Let's get started with this video right now. So here in my left hand is the iPhone 8 and this is the iPhone 10. As you know, these devices were released alongside each other in 2017 as the main iPhones in September. Why do I think that the older looking iPhone 8, which is apparently older and doesn't look that fresh, is actually better than the iPhone 10? Well, here's the deal. If you compare the things that are on the iPhone 10 but are not on the iPhone 8, and if you compare the prices, it's like a simple equation to find out that the iPhone 8 is definitely a better value. Let me show you some of the things that these devices have. So the iPhone 10 in my right hand, of course, has a brand new design, like the fresh look with a notch display. I mean, of course, you don't find it on the iPhone 8. It has a bigger display with the size of 5.8 inches, and it is an OLED display, so the display is actually better on the iPhone 10. You of course don't have the home button, which is like part of the design, but instead you're using Face ID to unlock the iPhone. But let's take a look at the phone and inside of the phone, which is very important. Like, these two devices are equipped with the very same Apple A11 Bionic chip with a neural engine. It means that the internals are almost completely the same. It means that the performance, the chip, and all of that, like the ability to perform tasks, is very similar on these devices. Even though the iPhone 8 is arguably worse or looking older, so the iPhone 8 will perform pretty much the same as the iPhone 10. Yeah, it really turns out to just having a better display and some other initial stuff. Like, if you take a look at the battery, it's a little bit better on the iPhone 10 since they claim that it is supposed to last 2 hours longer than the iPhone 7. This is like the iPhone they used to compare the new models to. And the iPhone 8 has pretty much the same battery life as the iPhone 7. But one downside of the OLED display and many pixels is that it requires more power. So yeah, it's kind of arguable to talk about the battery. I mean, I kind of guess that you get to the end of the day no matter what you do on both of these phones, so I wouldn't really worry too much about the battery. Both of these devices have IP67 water resistance rating, which means that you can put it into water under 1 meter for about 30 minutes, not longer. I mean, no big deal, pretty much the same stuff. And now let's get to the camera, and this is when it becomes interesting. A lot of people feel that the iPhone 10 is superior to the iPhone 8 because of the camera performance and the ability to make better photos just because of the addition of the second lens and overall looking like a better or more capable photo making machine, which may be right at some occasions, but most of the time you are only using the main lens. If you open up the camera and normally try to snap a photo, you are only using the main camera lens, and the telephoto lens is pretty much not very used. So there are only two ways to use the telephoto lens, which has been added to the iPhone 10, and that is to take a portrait photo or use it to zoom it in optically, I guess, to have optical zoom, which is nice to have, but it's not anything groundbreaking. And if you're using the main lens, which is this one right here, it's exactly the same thing that you have on the iPhone 8. So for most of the times, you're going to be using the very same lens and the very same sensor you have also on the iPhone 8. So it's not very often that you would take use of the additional telephoto lens. I mean, it's not the wide angle lens, just like on the iPhone 11 or 11 Pro Max. That one is super useful. This one doesn't seem to be that useful in my opinion and in opinions of many other people. And like I say, the very same camera performance. So on both of these devices you have 4K at 60 FPS or 24 and 30 you have Full HD video. I mean, the same specs. I mean, exactly the same specs. You have the optical image stabilization even on the iPhone 8. Like I said, you are not able to zoom in optically because you don't have the facilities for that. But you also can make like 1080p 120 or 240 FPS slow motion video on each of these phones. So I guess the camera is very capable on the iPhone 8. And there are many advantages that you get on the iPhone 10 camera compared to the iPhone 8. front-facing camera, exactly the same story. I mean, it's completely the same on the iPhone 8 and on the iPhone 10, with the difference that on the iPhone 10 you have the option to create emojis and also to use it as a Face ID. So I guess that you have some advantages with the iPhone 10, but again, nothing extraordinary, and the same megapixels and all of that is part of the iPhone 10 and of the iPhone 8 camera as well. So the entire point of this video is to let you know that the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10 are similar in many ways, but the prices are vastly different. Like, take a look at the iPhone 8. I have bought it on eBay for about $240. But if you would like to get the iPhone 8 used on eBay in the same condition pretty much, you would have to pay a lot more, like a couple of $100s more, about $400. I mean, you definitely couldn't get it for less than $300. The prices are different and some aspects are very similar, if not the same. Now let's mention again the things that are different. So you of course have a lower resolution of the display, which kinda sucks. You don't have OLED display on the iPhone 10, but the dark mode, as you can see, still looks decent. I mean, it's not like you're not able to use the dark mode without the OLED display, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. You have the Touch ID, which may be considered or preferred by many people, so I'm not sure about that. You also have the fresh design on the iPhone 10 and older, more bezel-looking design on the older iPhone. You have a 1 GB more RAM on the iPhone 10, you have 3 gigs, and here you have only 2 gigs. You also have the telephoto lens, which, like we talked about and discussed, may be useful, maybe not. I guess that for me, it wouldn't really make or play a huge role. So I guess that for most of the people, it doesn't really make sense to focus on the importance of the telephoto lens. And other than that, the phones are very, very similar. Of course, you may consider the battery life to be slightly better on the iPhone 10, but like I said, it doesn't really make a huge difference. And now here's the question. Do you think that these so-called benefits of having the iPhone 10, like we talked about the camera and the better display, I mean, do you think that it is worth about $200 to pay more for the iPhone 10? I mean, I guess, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense, and that's why I think the iPhone 8 is so much better value right now, since you're not even able to get the iPhone 10 on Apple's website. You just can't go to the Apple Store and take a look at it. It's just not there anymore. It has been removed in order to make more space for the iPhone 11, iPhone XR, and the iPhone 11 Pro. So the iPhone 10 has sort of like disappeared, but it's still a great phone. But I think that if it was a little less expensive, it would make sense to get it. Right now, I think the iPhone 8 is definitely a better value. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you are deciding or if you want to have the iPhone 10 or iPhone 8. I mean, let me know what you think about it. I mean, the people using it are the best advice. So just let me know and leave some comments down below, and also leave a like on this video for more content like this, and see you guys later in the next video. Peace out, guys.